it's weird because, right, we want children to have all these rights at 12 and 13, check out the book they want, tell the doctor what they want in private, get birth control, shots, abortions, whatever. But when a 12 or 13-year-old comes to you and says, hey, this coach is touching me inappropriately, all of a sudden they're just a child again. So I can't imagine growing up in this confusing environment of, are we adults or are we kids? Where are we? We're given all this responsibility of over ourselves, but we're not made to be responsible in any way. And I know you guys all see it too. It's coming at them from every direction. I don't have to do chores, but I'm responsible for all these other adult things, right? So it's very conflicting. And I feel like when I was a kid, it was pretty simple. I was the kid. The teacher was the teacher. It was a very strict boundary. I didn't know if my teacher had kids. I didn't know if my teacher was married half the time. I didn't know where they went to college. What I knew was that Miss Russell at Hera Elementary taught me to read very well. And I used an Apple computer with a floppy disk. And what I know is that Miss Shin at Moore High School with hair down to the ground taught me English and, talked to us about our Oklahoma accent and how it was hard for other people to understand us. Those are the things that I remember from school. I don't remember any inappropriate activities with my teachers or my coaches, and I was always in sports. None of that. But now the line is blurred, and we want to feel safe by sending our kids to school. We want them to be loved. Okay. Love happens at home. Teaching happens at school, because love blurs the boundary for the child. It can blur the boundary for the teacher, who begins to need the children's love as much as the kid needs theirs, or the parent wants the kid to need theirs. And all those boundaries are getting really blurry, right? So now my teacher's my best friend. I know all her kids. I know all their names. And, it's very blurry to me. And I think that those boundaries were there and they were good. And I think that even with the books, do you want a 35-year-old coach reading Gender Queer to your daughter or your son sitting right next to him? Right? Like, you're blurring a boundary. So you're reading a dirty book with a kid, and then the kid's supposed to come back and say, oh, this inappropriate touching is wrong. Well, we just read about it in the book, right? We just read a whole book on nice touching and how good it feels. And these, I'm not going to say what's in genderqueer, y'all know. And then you tell the kid to have a boundary with that coach. You're setting your kids up, is what you're doing. And that's harsh, but that's what's happening. And these well-meaning people who just want their kids to be loved aren't seeing the way they're setting their kids up.
In my opinion, that's kind of the catch-22 of the whole thing, Kendra, is, and I saw this firsthand when I ran for school board and I was knocking doors and talking to parents about the books. They couldn't even accept that these books were in school because they can't comprehend, because school was how it was 20, 30 years ago or 40 years ago. They still think school is that same way. So they can't understand that these relationships happen, that this material that they're seeing every single day is just compounding, and allowing those kind of things to happen. And they just can't comprehend, because they still think that it's, the same way you and I didn't know anything about my teachers' politics, their family life, if they're married, divorced, whatever. We didn't know any of that whatsoever. We just had, we did what our teachers said. We respect our teachers. They came in, they taught us, they taught us academics. They weren't teaching us all this social stuff. They were teaching us academics, and then that was it.